And I think we're live. Hey guys, Marlon here from Games and Warriors channel. And I know it's been a long time since I've done a podcast on the channel, but this is what we call the Switchcast. And this is something new. I know, well, the last time we did it was called Let's Talk Gaming or GW Podcast. But this is the Switchcast. Been at the Nintendo Switch is coming out real soon in March. And we have the live presentation, which is going to be aired on January 12th. I'm so excited. Cannot wait for the presentation and what Nintendo is going to show us. But I have a special guest here with me. And his channel name is Warpath Gaming. So I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself. Go ahead, man. Take it away.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Pat from Warpath Gaming. Just want to say hi and looking forward to this podcast, man.
Right. Great. So in this Switchcast, we're going to be talking about the Nintendo Switch presentation, our predictions on what we think so far about everything that's been going on with the Nintendo Switch. I'm personally really excited about the Switch. There's so many games that comes to mind when it comes to the Nintendo Switch at launch that I think should be on the Switch. But one of the main things for me for this presentation is, of course, they're going to talk about the price, the specs, and the overall like online interface, if they show that off, which they should show it off as far as like how the online is going to work, because Nintendo, they never really show off like the online segment of their console, like go like in depth. So I really hope that they really, push that as far as like the online segment and everything like that. We know they need a lot more first party games, to be on the Nintendo Switch, as well as third party stuff needs to be like clockwork. So we're going to be answering some questions about what you guys think, because we're all having a discussion here. We're all going to be chiming in everything about what we think as far as our predictions for the Nintendo Switch presentation. So I would go ahead and ask my man Warpath real quick on what his predictions are, and then I can kind of piggyback off, and then I'll just take off from there.
Well, I would have to say the one thing that kind of impressed me a couple days ago was this rumor going around that the Switch is going to be in the VR business. We already got Xbox and PlayStation already in it, but now Nintendo, and everybody thought they wouldn't be a part of it, now they've got this new concept idea coming out, probably to add VR to the Switch, which would be pretty much game changer.
Yeah, game changer indeed. Honestly, I can't even hear him. You guys can't hear who?
Yeah, which one is it?
Yeah, they said they can't hear him. I can't even hear him. Wait a minute here. Yeah. Wait, I'm getting an echo there when I do that. So I'm trying to figure out why they're saying, guys, can you hear Warpath at all?
Can you hear me, guys?
If he turns up, what if it turn up the volume or is too loud? Wait, I'm confused now. Can you guys hear him at all? Well,
Can you guys hear me?
you can Warpath, can you turn your mic volume up?
I think I can. How about that?
Can y'all hear him?
Can you hear me now? I can only hear it, that volume button. It may be the gain.
Yeah, probably the gain, maybe. You could try that.
How about that?
I can hear you perfectly. I just don't know if they can actually hear you. Can you guys hear him? I can't hear Warpath Gaming. Please turn off slow-mo. Slow-mo. What is slow-mo? Okay, wait. I'm trying to figure out. Wait, why is it? Can you guys hear anything at all? Wait. Go ahead and talk.
Testing.
Perfect.
They got it?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Do they hear me?
Yeah, let me see if they can hear you.
Okay. I can hear myself too. I just looked at the stream.
Okay, cool. I can hear him. Okay, all right, great. So, like we were saying about the Nintendo Switch VR. Now, I think VR would be so great for the Nintendo Switch, just for the simple fact that the last time Nintendo explored VR was like way like almost 20 something plus years ago, which was the Virtual Boy. And so I think this would be a perfect opportunity. One of the rumors that stood out to me was Resident Evil 7 having the ability to wait, the chat is in slow mo, dude. I can't even type up. How do you turn that off? Wait. I don't know how to do that. Y'all distracting me with this chat thing. I don't know how to turn down the chat. How do you do that? Like,
I have no clue with this Google Hangout.
no, it's not the Google Hangout. It's actually on YouTube. Like the chat, they're talking about the chat. But anyway, the VR stuff I think would be a very good thing for Nintendo. I think that it would be very innovative, if they actually do VR, because it would just open up so much more innovation to Mario games. Like we'll see a whole different side, to everything. And I think it would just be a brilliant move if they really explore VR. What's your thoughts on it, man?
Well, I mean, VR is something new. It's something that's going to be not perfected in the first try around, no matter what PlayStation VR, Xbox VR does. So I actually like the fact that Nintendo actually just takes a chance on this. They actually, want to be a part of the game because they're not far off. I'm pretty sure if you had like Super Mario VR where you could like jump and then like put out a hand where you shoot out a fireball on a course, like that would be pretty cool. Or like Mario Kart VR, or we're talking about GoldenEye VR. I mean, there's so many classic games on Nintendo that could really work for this. And I would definitely say one thing that Nintendo needs to try to do, and they have the license for it, is even if it takes an extra month, Resident Evil 7 VR. If they can get that going, that will help them. That's the kind of first-party game they need to have back. Because some of their greatest games have been the Resident Evil remake, Resident Evil 0. Like, those are the kind of things in VR you need. You need those first-party games. And if they can do that, the sky's the limit for them.
Yeah, real talk. I think one of the games that I think would be would take advantage of VR, not just Resident Evil, but Super Mario Galaxy. Like if they, there we go. But if they come out, I keep saying if, but I know they're going to do this. I know they're going to come out with a Super Mario Galaxy 3, but when they come out with Super Mario Galaxy 3, I think it would be wise for them to have that, because that game would do so well with VR. And I know a lot of people, when it comes to VR and everything, people just get so, like up in arms about it, because it's not a brand new idea or thing. It's been around for the longest time. And I feel like now it's mainstream now. And, you have the Oculus Rift, you got the HTC Vive, you got the PlayStation VR, and, everybody is doing VR, I think, except for Microsoft. They don't really have any of their own proprietary, VR headset for the Xbox One. But I think Nintendo, man, I can't wait. I literally, if this is true, because one of the rumors we heard that Nintendo is exploring the whole like design aspects of the VR. And there's a VR shell apparently that's out there that Nintendo is working on. So I don't know if this is true, but I think it would be wise for them to do that. What's going on, Jackson? What's up, man? But I think it would be wise for them to explore VR, and yeah, I think it would be a great idea, man. To be honest with you,
it's just the evolution of it. And if you want to know one thing between all three of these, like Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo is the one that is the innovator. They're the ones that bring the systems out with motion controls or a big screen on your controller, like, and then the Switch. Like, this is a totally different ball game. Why not get into VR? You're already innovative as it is. Go VR. What more can it hurt? I mean, because in all honesty, like, being a Sony guy, I mean, I love Nintendo, and I've had plenty of experience with Nintendo. I mean, GoldenEye, I think, is one of the greatest games of all time.
Yes.
It's definitely fallen back a little bit. Like you said, without those major first-party games, they have to play the innovation game. And if they don't do that, then they're going to fall behind even further, which is why VR needs to come in, and they need to start relating into first-party games with that VR system. I mean, if they can get Resident Evil 7 in a port a month after it releases, because I don't know if they're going to get it now. It'd be a little bit too late in the game, but definitely a month after it releases on Sony and Xbox, they could definitely get a port if they can clear it up quickly with the Switch. And I think that would be huge.
Yeah. I agree, man. I agree. There's so much stuff that they can add, man, you know, to make the Switch amazing. And I literally cannot wait, you know, till January 12th. Because if they announce VR, I mean, a lot of people are going to go crazy. Like, what? You know, for the very first time, you know, well, since the Virtual Boy, we'll be able to, explore these AAA games, you know, Nintendo games in VR. I cannot wait, man. Like, I'm speechless right now, you know. But yeah, I think VR would be a very smart move by Nintendo. Also, another thing I wanted to point out is that a paper company in London is reporting that, you know, they have the costs for the Nintendo Switch, which is £245. And they said that the Switch will become available on March 17th. So they, you know, we don't really know how they got the information. You know, we don't know if this is legit. So take that with a grain of salt. But March 17th, we heard rumors about this before, stating that, you know, hey, you know, the Switch is supposed to come out between March 16th or 17th because of a Nintendo, what's it called? Nintendo Club Rewards thing. I guess every time Nintendo releases a Club Nintendo membership rewards thing or whatever, they normally release it around the 16th or the 17th. So that's where they're getting the whole release date thing from. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but also real quick, they said it will for £245. How much money would that translate out to be?
That would be £245 to dollars. That would be around 300.
So $300,
which is not a bad pricing for what the PS4 Pro is, like 400 something.
Yeah,
and then Microsoft's new whatever Scorpio or whatever the hell it's going to be called is around that same price as the Pro too. So it's $100 less, which is typical Nintendo, especially when they used to do that with the PlayStation 3 versus the Wii and the Xbox.
Yeah. I think that's not a bad price, but they said right here, this is from the paper here. They said that the console is supposed to come bundled with Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild and Seasons of Heaven, which is a newly developed Switch title, which is really, really amazing. I saw the trailer for it and it looks really good. So Zelda: Breath of the Wild and Seasons of Heaven for $300. Oh my God, that's a steal, man.
That is a steal. I am not going to lie about that. That is a huge steal.
Yeah, that's a huge steal. So that's why I'm like, yo, this is this is gonna be amazing. You know, like the Switch, like I said, the ball is in Nintendo's court right now, and they really have to deliver. I'm so serious right now. So I'm really, really pumped, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, it's always been that race in the last couple of years. You had Sony and Microsoft like fighting for 1-2, and Nintendo has been in the back. And you know, I'm not one of those guys that like, even as a Sony guy, like, you know, oh, PlayStation's the best. Like, no, all the systems have great things, and even Nintendo has had, like I said, they've had some of the greatest games of all time. Like, if there was like a top 50 all-time games, Nintendo probably has, I would say, 20 of them. Like, that's how big they are. And if they can find something to close that gap in that race, like, we could be talking about Nintendo vying for the number one slot sooner than later.
Yeah, because one of the things that people fail to understand is that Nintendo are the pioneers of gaming. They are the reason why gaming exists. You know what I mean? Before PlayStation, before Xbox, you know, before PC, like these guys are the forefathers of gaming. So I don't want them to fail, man. I really, really want Nintendo to do very well. And so with the Switch, man, it's all or nothing for Nintendo. You know, the Wii U was poorly marketed, not enough first party titles, not enough third party titles. And so how, from what we're hearing and how I think they will be able to fix this is joining their first party studios together, which I've heard that they're already in motion of doing that already, with, you know, joining their first party studios together, as well as their third party studios, where I don't know who's gonna jump on, but we heard Ubisoft, Rockstar Games. I heard there's so many third party companies that are jumping on board right now. So, you know, it's really exciting for the Switch, man. And, you know, a bunch of companies like, like different companies that are not even about gaming, they're really excited about Nintendo, you know, releasing the Switch. So even non-gaming companies, people that don't even care about gaming, are excited about the Switch. So the Switch is really a big deal, you know. But my whole thing is, advertise it. You know, with this presentation, this thing needs to be all over the place. It needs to be all over social media, all over television, everywhere. Everybody needs to know about this presentation, because everybody needs to tune in on January 12th. So I'm excited. I hope that really they focus a lot on third-party support, because that's one of the main things. Like, we know Nintendo is going to dominate when it comes to first-party titles. It's just that with the Wii U, it wasn't really a lot of first-party stuff. But they really, really need to focus on third-party, like, more than anything else, and online. Online and third-party needs to be their drive, you know, like their big push. But anything you wanted to add on that?
You really make some great points with the first and third party games, especially with online. Like, online is the future. It was the future 10 years ago. And, you know, with, you know, so many games that Nintendo has, including like Smash Brothers, like online, like that's huge. And to definitely incorporate more first party games that have those online capabilities, like, shoot, I would love for you guys to get a Call of Duty game that works for Nintendo Switch. That, you know, I mean, Call of Duty is awesome, except for Infinite Warfare. That sucks. But like, it's, you know, it's these more games that are popular online that Nintendo needs to start investing in and go, you know what? We do have a shot in this. Our graphic capabilities are not what is going to hold us back. It's about just taking the initiative and actually going with it. I mean, you know, where's the Final Fantasy games? Why wasn't Final Fantasy 15 on Wii U? Why wasn't Final Fantasy 15 going to be on the Switch? Like, that's a big popular game right now, as Final Fantasy 15 is making resurgence back, but it's only on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. You know, Nintendo needs to take advantage of these games that are becoming big and popular. And mind you, as all the Nintendo fans on your channel probably know, Final Fantasy was started on Nintendo. 1-6. It wasn't until PlayStation got in and had the most greatest Final Fantasy of all time, 7, come to the party, and that's why Sony has been dominant over that. It was one game that really hit the floor, but 1-6 on Nintendo were just as good. I mean, it's what brought the franchise to life, and I just feel like why didn't Nintendo take advantage of that, especially with 15? Because 15 had the ability to bring back the Final Fantasy franchise after all that garbage between 12, 13, and even 14. Like 15, I wish they took ahead of that, but now is the time to correct it. Now is the time to bring in the games that are popular with everybody. I know you're trying to be innovative, and that's cool, but Mario isn't for everybody. Bring back, if you can bring back a successful port of GoldenEye, give me a Switch right now. I'll play for like hours.
Yeah. I mean, Nintendo literally have the largest catalog of first-party titles.
Sorry to interrupt, but Fuego actually had a really good point. I'm just reading on his chat here right now. He said Crash Bandicoot was ported to the GameCube, so I hope it gets ported to the Switch. Well, that's another game that people have been dying to have for 10 years. A remaster of the classic 1, 2, and 3. Why wasn't Nintendo on this? I mean, Naughty Dog is publicly traded and publicly owned. I mean, Nintendo could have had a chance to remaster that, and I hope they do. But, it's just like he had an absolute great point that Crash Bandicoot was on the GameCube, and that was popular. Really popular for Nintendo fans.
Yes. That a lot of people was concerned about that when they showed that off at the PlayStation Experience. I was going crazy along with The Last of Us 2 when they showed that off. Huge Last of Us fan, and
love that freaking game, man.
Oh my god, dude! I did a reaction to that game, man, and the video got like close to 60,000 views because I was just so excited, excited to see. That's what gaming is all about, man. Gaming is supposed to bring gamers together. It's supposed to bring people together so we can all unite. So that's really, really and truly what gaming is all about. But Nintendo, they have to knock it out the park.
And two other things I'm seeing on this chat right now that bring up great points. I want to say C-Man E-Man, he was like, will they port GameCube games? I hope they do. Because there's some GameCube games like Soul Calibur 3 with Link and like Smash Brothers Melee. Like Smash Brothers Melee is still huge. I mean, you can't, if they ported that game, they save a lot of people the pain and suffering of paying $70, $80 for Melee from a GameCube game. And then I have, I'm trying to read the right name, Isaiah, Kingdom Hearts 3. Damn right. Great, one of the greatest MMORPGs of all time. Why aren't they on Kingdom Hearts 3? Like, they did Dream Drop Distance, they did Chain of Memories. Like, those are very critical to the storyline. So I thought, they should have a shot at 3. Like, why? That's the thing, and that's the thing Nintendo needs to start doing now, because they already missed the train on a bunch of other games that are PlayStation and Xbox are going to own. So it's like those first-person games are what's critical. And, I mean, your viewers here make great points. Like, it's these kind of games that they want to bring in for Nintendo. And if Nintendo just starts playing ball a little bit and saying, like, we want these major games too, instead of being scared of competition between Sony and Microsoft, they can get back in this game. They just need to try.
Yes, they need to try. And it's... and it's funny because a lot of people are going to be concerned about power. And it's like, oh my God, when January 12th gets here, a lot of people are going to be like, okay. We heard about the games. We're excited about the games. We know, okay, they fixed the online thing. Okay, we can talk to our friends and the online is not laggy. Okay. But what's up with the power? Like, that's what a lot of people, a lot of YouTubers, a lot of journalists, a lot of insiders, they're so concerned about the power of the Nintendo Switch. And one of the things that really concerns me about the Switch is the storage. Like, how is that going to work? Because we know that from what we heard, it's going to be 128 gigabyte of micro SD that's going to be able to be on there. So how's that going to work when it comes to downloading games, a full downloadable Switch game to the Switch? Like, how is that going to work? I hope that, and also too, I heard that there's no external hard drive support. So I don't know how Nintendo is going to work that out, but I hope that they fix that, because that was so annoying with the Wii U, where the Wii U was so limited. 32 gigabytes? Are you kidding me? Like, that was a joke.
Yeah, that was a joke.
You know what I mean? So I hope they knock it out the park with that.
Are they doing, so it's 128 gigabytes?
Yeah.
128.
Mm-hmm.
How the heck are you going to do that?
Yeah, like how okay, let's say if we want to buy a full game, you know, off of the Switch, like most of these games, especially on the PS4 and Xbox One, are like 50 something gigs. Not saying that the Switch games are going to be that big, but what the point I'm trying to make is that even if a Switch game is like 5 gigs, that adds up pretty fast.
Oh,
Plus, you got to factor in the hardware. So you know, the hardware software thing, you know, the iOS, not iOS. Now I'm getting ahead of myself. The operating system is going to take storage away as well. You see what I'm saying? So you're not getting the full 128 gigabyte of storage. You know, you're probably going to get about maybe 120, because that extra 8 gig has to go to the system. So they need to fix that. They need to definitely, they should be dropping a system with a gig, at least a gig. You know what I mean? Because that's the standard for consoles now. It's like Sony rehashing, you know, all these different versions of PS4s. You know, Microsoft is doing the same thing. You know, they're rehashing the same thing. You know, come out with a 500 gigabyte, come out with a terabyte, then come out with a 2 terabyte. That's so annoying. And that makes a lot of consumers angry, just like myself. Like, man, are you kidding me right now? So you're forcing me to upgrade to a bigger storage, which is ridiculous. But go ahead, man. Take it away.
I mean, that's the problem I'm having with PlayStation 4 right now is, you know, we have 500 gigabytes and literally that's not enough. I mean, shoot, most people have been upgrading to a terabyte. And I know Nintendo probably is going to have lower like memory for games, but what about Breath of the Wild? That's supposed to be one of the biggest maps in Legend of Zelda history. How can 128 gigabytes be fine? Because if you get that game, I bet you $5 it takes about half your storage. It's a huge game. I mean, Metal Gear Solid, The Phantom Pain, which is a great game, by the way. It had an open world. It was huge. And I think it was close to 100 gigabytes. So if I'm doing math correctly and knowing what Nintendo's going to use, how many gigabytes for this, you know, Breath of the Wild may take up most of your space.
Exactly. And here's the thing, you know, a lot of companies, how they do it, right? They bundle a game with the system, and it's digital, which means that you're not going to get that full capacity. You're not going to get that full 128. So remember, 8 gigs goes to the operating system. And like you said, Breath of the Wild, I remember at E3, because when I was at E3 this past year, Nintendo was talking about how big Breath of the Wild is. Like, it's bigger than MGS5. It's bigger than Grand Theft Auto 5. It's bigger than Skyrim. All these, you know how huge Skyrim is? You know how huge Grand Theft Auto 5 is?
It's absolutely ridiculously huge.
Combined. They said combined, it's bigger than all those games. So how are you going to fit that on a 128 gigabyte micro SD storage? Like, that's impossible. Like, how are you going to do this? Like, this is ridiculous.
Well, I'm hearing, I think it was Isaiah who said it. He's like, well, it'll be hard copy. Well, remember, not everybody does hard copies. Like, there's got to be a downloadable option for that, because, by the way, when you're moving around with your Switch, you know, you can't have the game with you. Like, there has to be some like downloadable copy that you come with the hard disk. But yeah, no, just how big Breath of the Wild is going to be is huge. And I know one of your followers said too, like try having Mario Kart 8 and Smash Brothers on the Wii U at the same time is exactly the point. It is. You could only fit 2 games on the Wii U like that. What made them think like it was okay just to have smaller memory? Like, I mean, there's always going to be a way to get more memory. I'm sure they're going to come out with something. I wish they wouldn't, but they're probably going to come out with something like an external hard drive to attach to the Nintendo Switch to make you pay more. God, I hope not.
No.
Memory is still an expensive thing, man. It's a seller. It's everything that we have, computers, virtual consoles, everything. The more memory you have, the more fun you can have with it. And I mean, back in the day, as an example, when the PSP came out, there was like a 1 gigabyte memory slot, 128, 250, 500, and then I think there was a 750 gigabyte one. And the 500 ones were like almost $120, like it for memory. And it wasn't until that kind of memory stick was perfected and done on the cheap that you can get a freaking USB stick with 500 gigs for like $20. So it all really depends. I hope they don't do that to Nintendo people, but that is my fear.
Yeah, they're gonna do it because that's a trend for companies. For console companies is that they're actually coming out with these systems with a lack of storage, knowing doggone well that you need storage for these big games. Like Grand Theft Auto 5, for instance, on the PS4 is almost 60 gigs. It's ridiculous. Okay, and you're giving me a 500 gigabyte hard drive, knowing well that that's going to run out in no time. You install like maybe 5 or 6 or 7 games and it's game over for you. So if Nintendo is going to come out with this Switch, I mean, they they don't have no room for error. Like they're on thin ice. So everything they do from January 12 on out has to be perfect. Like they really don't have room for errors because it's like the Wii U was so basic. It was a basic console, so basic, lack of features. Online was terrible. Nobody knew about it. It was so lackluster, when it comes to performance. A lot of third-party developers had a difficult time. Now, one of the huge high fives I would give Nintendo is that I've heard, now this is just rumors, I've heard from rumors that the Switch is actually easy to develop for. And that's huge because that's going to let a lot of third-party companies jump onto your system and want to put games on your console. And that's what it's supposed to be. Remember with the PS3? That's how the PS3 was struggling from the jump because it was so hard for developers to crack open the PS3 and actually push it to its limit. So that's why, the PS3 struggled for a little while until it started gaining momentum. There was a lack of first party titles. It wasn't really a lot of first party stuff in the beginning. It wasn't they didn't really have a lot of good, launch titles as well. So, and this is coming from Sony because Sony always have strong first party titles. But the fact of it is that Nintendo, they have to dominate. They have to drop bombs. January 12th, they have to just come out. Okay, here's what we're going to do with first party. You guys don't have to worry about droughts anymore. Because remember, when the Switch, when the Wii U came out, it was droughts after droughts after drought. After Mario Kart 8, there was no game until no first party stuff until like a whole 6-7 months afterwards. It was crickets in between then. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So they really have to knock it out the park with first party stuff nonstop. Don't keep us waiting because you keep gamers waiting. They're going to get upset. They're like, man, there's nothing to play on the Switch. Then the Switch is going to, rejuvenate that same curse from the Wii U and sit on your shelf. And then we're back to square one again. So they really have to give us games, because it's not about power. Yes, power is important, you know, because power brings innovation, and it brings something fresh, because, you know, with power, you can do so much with power. But Nintendo has never been about power. And as a matter of fact, Reggie Fils-Aimé came out at E3 and he said, we're not trying to compete with PlayStation and Xbox when it comes to power. So it's like, I don't know why people are so concerned about the power of the Nintendo Switch. What they need to be concerned about is the actual first party lineup, third party, better online, you know, the ability to stream Nintendo Switch game, just like how they have that built-in capability. Another thing is that they said that, you know, the Switch will have a share button. Now, it pops a lot of idea and questions in my head. Some people said that it's going to be pictures and video clips. They should make it to where you can actually stream from the Nintendo Switch. That will be so amazing, but the fact still remains. So do you have anything on the share button on the Nintendo Switch that's rumored?
It has to be what you want, what you said. It has to be, you know, every other console has it where you can go on YouTube Gaming or Twitch from your console. Streaming is the next thing. You know, it's YouTube, VidMe, Twitch. All these video things are just starting. Like, YouTube's been in the game a little bit faster, but it's, you know, the capabilities of streaming is huge. And especially for Nintendo to get their games out to the public. Streaming is a huge market source. If you do not take advantage of the streaming network, which means if you don't have your console able to switch Twitch or YouTube Gaming, because guess what? Not everybody can afford a $1,000, $2,000 PC to work on streaming. Like, you know, we got kids that are trying to stream that are between the ages of 12 to 18 years old. They don't have that kind of money in their pockets. They're still in high school. So they want to be a part of that community, and it's free advertising for Nintendo. I mean, they had this problem on YouTube too, and I do remember that, is when their games were being put on YouTube, Nintendo would copyright strike them and be like, no, this is our stuff. And everybody was just sitting there like, what are you doing? Like, you're going to piss off everybody that wants to shoot your stuff? I mean, Dash EXP is a huge... I remember when he started doing Mario Kart 8, he started getting copyright strikes. And I watch that guy every time he plays Mario Kart 8. Like, it's the reason why I wanted to buy or play Mario Kart 8, because he would make it hilarious with his homie Yoshi and all the characters he puts on there. But it's that free advertising that Nintendo needs to start implementing. So having the Switch like that on there to have capabilities to stream directly to Twitch and YouTube Gaming would be huge. It comes back to the same thing we're talking about in every problem that Nintendo has had. They got the ball in their court. They're just not taking a shot. They're holding on to the ball. The basket's right there. Take a shot. They're just not taking a shot. And they need to start shooting a little bit.
Yeah, they need to start shooting a whole lot, because if they keep missing, man, you know, that's going to be it. They're going to have to hang it up, and they're going to become the new Sega, and then they're going to have to go third party, which I don't want that to happen in Nintendo, but they really have to come to grips. They have to wake up, because at the end of the day, you know, it's free advertisement. Like, YouTubers like me, I'm partnered with Nintendo. Like, you know, they reach out to me. They partnered me. I sign a contract with them. You know, I get their games in early. I talk about I'm a brand ambassador for Nintendo. So I go to everything Nintendo, you know. So at the end of the day, it's people like us that puts that positive energy out there for not just Nintendo, but for other companies as well. Like, we're the ones out there that are putting them out there for nothing, pretty much. We're not asking for any money. Now, if they go to these big corporations and say, hey, you know, we want to advertise, then they're going to have to pay out the rib cage, man, because it's not cheap for advertisement. Look at the Super Bowl. Like, whenever the Super Bowl comes around, a lot of companies jump on that bandwagon because there's millions of people watching, and it's a very good way for them to get their products out there. Well, Nintendo at this stage right now, they need to do that. The Super Bowl is coming up in February. They need to pay for a Super Bowl spot and advertise the crap out of that Nintendo Switch like nobody's business. Mm-hmm. I mean, literally, it needs to be the new Coca-Cola on the block. Like, everybody needs to know about the Switch.
Yep.
Because you ask a lot of people right now about the Wii U. What are you talking about? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. What is a Wii U? You talking about the Wii? No, not the Wii. The Wii U. So a lot of people still don't really have any information or idea about the Wii U. Why? Because they didn't advertise it enough. Yep. You know, and a very good start for the Switch for me was when they actually put it on Jimmy Fallon. That's huge. That's
the kind of stuff you got to be on. That's the stuff you have to. I mean, you see Jimmy Fallon doing Nintendo. Meanwhile, Conan O'Brien is doing these ridiculous, clueless gamers with Xbox, Nintendo, and PlayStation. Like, it needs to be more branding. But like I said before, it comes back to the same old thing. They need to start taking opportunities. They need to start being like Sony and Xbox. I mean, even going back to third-party games, it's not they're not trying for third-party games. They're just getting crappy third-party games. Like, it's like third-party games that just flop. Like, you would talk about, like, Xbox. They got a big sale off Super Meat Boy. Like, that was a huge game for them. Fez was for PlayStation and Xbox, not Nintendo. And Fez was one of the biggest third-party games in history. I mean, granted, the creator's a jerk, but, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, they need to start picking right. They need to start picking games that will, you know, enlighten their fan base or, like, really interest their fan base. Like, trust me, I've had plenty of third-party games that were amazing, and I still have to this day. And it's like I said, Nintendo is just doing the same thing. If you're trying to be innovative, start being innovative in your games. The hardware you got down, we get it. You're fun for that. But you need to start finding games that, you know, they're trying to find games that Sony nor Xbox are doing, and if this one hits big, then it's all Nintendo's. And Nintendo will sign them, and Sony and Xbox can't get to that. We can't play that game anymore. We just can't. For Nintendo fans, you just can't play that game anymore. You need to start building brands back with the Final Fantasies, the Resident Evils, the big hot ticket item games. Stop relying on Mario. Mario is a great game. I get it. Mario Kart is amazing. Yes. But so is Sonic. So is Metal Gear Solid. So is Final Fantasy. There are more games out there. Like, Mario isn't the thing anymore.
So is Kingdom Hearts. For the love of, if I promise you, I'm gonna be so mad. I'm gonna be so mad if Kingdom Hearts 3 is not on the Switch. They'll be stupid if they don't reach out to Square Enix and get Kingdom Hearts 3. Yo, Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be one of the biggest release of that whatever year it comes out. That game is going to be huge. Death Stranding. Thank you, Fu-Gi-Oh. Death Stranding. Nintendo. Oh my God. I promise. I'm going to slap them. I promise. I'm going to go up to Kimishima and be like, are you stupid? Are you stupid?
Well, it's just, here's the thing. And this is why I worry about, I don't think you're going to get it.
Oh, no, don't say that.
I don't want to be that jerk, but you guys had Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. That is the game right after Kingdom Hearts 2, and it's the bridge to Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, you had that for the 3DS, but the game that's coming out, Kingdom Hearts 2.8, it's got a remastered version for the PS4 and the Xbox One. Where is the Switch? That's their game. That was their game to start out with. You can have a remastered on the Switch, and it actually be really good for the Switch because it has two sides. Your controllers are two-sided, just like the controller in the 3DS. It would work really well with that game. But I hope there's an announcement. You guys get 2.8 along with Birth by Sleep 0.2. Like, I would feel comfortable of you guys getting Kingdom Hearts 3 then, because that's the connector story. Like, you're gonna need to play that game in order to know what the heck is going on in Kingdom Hearts 3, and it's just one of those things. Like, they have these opportunities, and it's like another perfect example. Chain of Memories. It was on GBA. It was perfect. It was a great game. I played that on an emulator, for crying out loud. But then when the remaster came out, it was for PS2. And then when they remastered it again for Kingdom Hearts 1.5, it's for PlayStation. And now they're going to remaster it again where they're going to have 1.5 and 2.5 on PS4 and Xbox 360. Where's the Nintendo Switch? Like, that would have been your opportunity right there. If you missed out on all the other ones, Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5 combined together when they're remastered for PlayStation and Xbox, Nintendo should have gotten their butts in there and go, we want it. How much?
Exactly. But I want to stick this in there as well. Now that you're talking and you're preaching, man, you are so preaching. But here's my theory on this. What are your thoughts on Unreal 4 engine being supported by the Switch? Because this is a large rumor, and we've seen what the Unreal engine can do, with Gears and the Unreal Tournament games and a lot of other, games use the Unreal engine. So what are your thoughts on the Unreal Engine 4 supported by the Switch?
If that were the case, that would bring something. That would be the innovation I would be talking about. That is something that would be good for the Switch. If that were the case, I would expect remasters of a lot of games they missed out on. Like, we need to be talking about, like I said, the Kingdom Hearts, the Resident Evils. If that was the case, then I don't see what the problem is about getting a port for Resident Evil 7 or a bunch of other games that I haven't heard the Nintendo Switch says they have. Maybe they're trying to keep it on the down low to surprise your fans, but if Unreal Engine's on there, then the capabilities of the Switch just became that much bigger. And hopefully they're just keeping quiet on all these games they're going to come out with the Switch, including, hopefully, like I said, Resident Evil, Kingdom Hearts, and everything else. If that rumor is true, that would change the game. It definitely would.
Yeah, it definitely would. That's some really, really incredible stuff there. Another thing, Chris Nerd pointed this out. Very, very good stuff there. This was also another rumor that stood out to a lot of people. Okay, so when you dock the Nintendo Switch, it's more powerful. Like, you get all the optimal power out of it. And then when you undock it, it goes back to, lower settings. So it's medium settings. Now, that's kind of crazy to me because it's like, okay, I want to be able to get the same experience on the go. So you're telling me like the visuals the screen is not going to be bright enough, or the visuals that really concerns me. Like, if that's true, that when you dock it, now I get it. When you dock it, that means that you're at the house, right? And you're playing the game and you're all into it. Brilliant. But when I undock it, and let's say like my wife wants to use the TV, and that's one of the huge selling points with the Wii U. And I feel like that's where they're capitalizing on the same concept idea of the Wii U, is the whole because remember when they first showed off the Wii U, right? That was a huge selling point. Oh, when you're playing the game on your TV and your mom wants to use a TV, you can just, leave and then bring the Wii U pad inside your room. But here's the problem. You cannot go too far away without it saying out of range. So that really concerns me with the Switch. But they showed it off in the reveal trailer that you can just undock the thing and take it wherever you go, which is extraordinary. The fact that you can still have the dock at home, and then you can literally take the Switch on the plane. They showed it. You could take the Switch around your friends and play multiplayer games. That is so dope. Now, my only thing is how I want to be able to talk to my friends. One of the huge things with Mario Kart that bugged me was the fact that I have to text my friends while I'm driving. Like, that's not safe. But you're supposed to be a kid-friendly company or whatever, but I'm texting while I'm driving. That's not cool. That's not cool. That's not practicing safe driving. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
so
no, I do.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like, what are your thoughts on docking the Wii? I keep saying Wii U, docking the Switch and undocking it. Like, as far as power is concerned, I think that really raised a red flag for me. What about you, War?
Like I said, they try to be innovative. I think it's a good thing. I think it's kind of cool. It brings it out. Like, it makes me want to possibly get one day. But yeah, no, I totally get your point on that. Just being like, It's not safe. It depends. But that's when parenting comes in. It's not all the company's responsibility to make sure our kids are good drivers. Like if a parent were to catch that and be like, "Hey, you're not really supposed to do that," that's what I think on that. In all honesty.
What about the undocking and docking of it of the Switch with the power aspect of everything, being that the Switch is less powerful when undock, and when dock it's more powerful? What are your thoughts on that?
That's a power supply issue. They wanted to make it mobile, and that's the thing about mobile gaming. It's not console-like quality. It's not, the speed of it is just, it's going to take a hit. But that's why Nintendo does it, because it makes it fun. It attracts the younger audience. In all honesty, I know what they're trying to do marketing-wise, and it's genius. It's just how long can they hang on for it for? They're trying to appease to the 5-year-olds. So when the 5-year-olds become 10-year-olds, and the 10-year-olds become 15-year-olds, and the 15-year-olds become 20-year-olds, they're all Nintendo people.
Right.
So they're trying to hang on to them at a young age. By the time 10, 20 years from now, they'll think they'll be number one because they'll have the most fans. But then that marketing strategy can fail, because then other people who have PlayStation and Xbox, could share it with them one day, and then now all of a sudden they're Sony fans. It's, you got to appease to the teenagers and the older gamers a little bit more as well. I get the 5-year-olds too, and I get the 10-year-olds, but the teenage from like 15 to like 23 is the magical number to get these gamers hooked. Because by the time you're 25, you already have like your certain console of choice.
Pretty much. You pretty much should know right there and then. But here's my thing, though. The Switch is not the most kid-friendly console. Let's be honest here. Just think about it. Now, remember with the 3DS, right? With the whole clamshell stuff, opening and closing, and then it will start to break. The hinges were starting to break because of the poor build quality of the hinges, and a lot of people was complaining about it. A lot of parents was complaining about it, and they redesigned and call it the 2DS, which it looks a lot more kid friendly. Now the Switch does not. The Switch to me looks like it's catering to older like people, like 18 and upwards, or people that are like I would say from the age of like maybe 13 and up. You see what I'm saying? That's where I feel like it was really catering to, because it's a tablet. If you drop that thing, it's done. You see what I'm saying? So I don't see a 5-year-old or a 3-year-old, playing with the Nintendo Switch. Like I think it's gonna, they're gonna toss it, man, and drop it, and it's gonna break. So it's not the most kid-friendly, console, because we know Nintendo is all about, catering to the kids and stuff like that. And I know they're gonna make like cases for it to protect it, which Snakebite, I believe, was the first company to make accessories for it. And Snakebite and Hyperkin, they showed off, what they were gonna do for the Switch as far as accessories at CES this year. And one of the ideal things is the case, a screen protector and a case to actually cover the Switch. The Joy-Con, thoughts. The Joy-Con to me concerns me. It looks too small. I have caveman hands. I have King Kong hands. Okay,
you don't have Donald Trump hands?
Oh God. Oh man.
I'm sorry, I had to. You were talking about hands.
Joy-Con boys.
Yeah.
Judging from what I've seen so far, right? I'm pretty sure you see a crap ton of images of the Joy-Con, right?
Right.
We get the gimmick, okay, the Pro controller like Joy-Con, where you can disassemble the controller, right? Mm-hmm. We get that, but when you attach it to the Switch, it reminds me of the Wii U. It looks just like the Wii U. Let's be honest here. Like if you look at the Switch with the Joy-Cons attached to it, it looks just like the Switch, but it looks so small though. That's a huge concern to me, man. Like when you're playing fighting games with that thing, you would have to use the adjustable Joy-Con, the one that looks like the more of like a controller. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
But they have a grip that you can, that you can assemble it, which is cool. And then you can dock it in there, and then you can still play. But I don't know, the controls, the Joy-Con itself just looks really small to me. I don't know what's your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, it's a big deal. It comes back to the same old thing. Who are you trying to appease to? The younger generation or the older generation or the millennial generation, for all that matters? I mean, Nintendo needs to figure out what they are. That's the whole thing, especially with the controllers being small, what kind of games they're playing. It all comes back to the same thing. What the heck do you want to be?
True.
And when you're appeasing the younger kids, they're not the ones going out and buying it with their hard-earned cash. That's the parents. When you get the 18 to 20 or the 15 to 23-year-olds, I mean, some 15-year-olds have cash on their hands. They work jobs. They're the ones with the power. They're the consumer. Like, you have to beat out. Yeah, sure, you're parent friendly and kid friendly, but does that mean the parent's going to buy it? Depends how they feel about games.
That's true.
Depends how they feel. When you have your own money, you make your own choices. And, that 15 to 23 range is what you should be marketing to. I don't think they want to scare away the younger generation too by getting like the Resident Evils. But if that were the case, why not get Kingdom Hearts? I mean,
right.
If you're really just trying to be family oriented, you should have had Kingdom Hearts. And you should have found a way to keep it going. Not just get like a GBA port and a 3DS port. I just don't see it.
Right. Yeah, that's I don't know. I'm concerned about the controller. I think the controller might be too small for me, for my taste. But again, the Pro controller for the Wii U was just handicapped. Like the layout of the buttons and how it felt to me, it just felt like handicap. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a very, very sticky situation for Nintendo. Hopefully when I try the Joy-Con out, it actually feels really, really good in my hands, and the buttons feel good and things like that. But like Isaac says, go big or go home.
There you go. That's perfectly said.
You know what I mean? They have to bring it. They really
that's literally their whole problem. Go big or go home. Like enough being in the middle. Are you gonna join Sony and Xbox and try to bring in some more first party games, or are you just gonna go home and go, well, screw it, we're gonna be in third place for the rest of our lives? Like, what's it gonna be? Because you were the kings. You were the kings one time.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. Everybody had to bow down to Nintendo. And remember, you got to remember this. If anybody is a true gamer, they should remember this turning point in gaming, which was one of the biggest. If it would have happened, it would have been one of the biggest moves ever by any company in gaming history. Remember when Sony was going to merge with Nintendo? Oh my sweet Christmas, man!
They got too big for themselves. They thought, we could do this without Sony. Like, we don't need to be with them. We can do this. And, and N64 was successful, but the PlayStation brought in a new revolution. And it's just really going to come, like I said, it's just going to come down to this: go big or go home.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it boils down to.
If you're not going to do it, then be satisfied with third place for the rest of your life, because that's what it really is going to be. And I would say, just concluding that, if you ever seen the Moneyball with what's his face?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
There's that scene where the scout goes to Billy Bean and was like, "You're crazy. This is never gonna work. It never will work. We got to stick to us scouts that have been scouting for 20, 30 years. We know when a player is and blah, blah, blah." And after that, Billy just went, adapt or die. And that's what Nintendo is faced with right now.
Yes.
Adapt or die.
Adapt or die. Yep. Yeah.
You can be innovative, but you also, it's not their equipment. It goes back to the same thing. It is not their equipment. It is their gaming.
Yes.
Bring in more first-party games and try to strike it rich with third-party. Even if you have to share with PlayStation and Xbox, so what? When Super Meat Boy came out, it made Xbox and Sony millions.
Yes.
And then you had Fez that made them millions. Like, it's these kind of games that you have to, you know what? Maybe Sony and Xbox got to them first, but definitely ride the train. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a third-party game. You're helping the developer out, which you should be doing. Or here's a bright idea. If you find a third-party gamer that knows what he's doing and makes millions, why don't you offer him a job?
Right.
Food for thought. It's the same thing as when the government gets hacked by some hacker in the United States and they try to find who he is. Instead of punishing them, yeah, you can punish the guy, but give him a job. Give him a job in the government.
Yeah.
Because the guy's best hacker on earth.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, but yeah.
But Nintendo needs to start getting out of their old ways. Yes, you were the king. You had an epic run, but it's now time to pick up the pieces and go, this is not working anymore. And I hope the Switch does that. I hope the Switch says, you know what? We found our mistakes. We're going to correct this. Here's what we're going to do. But if they continue on the same path they've done with the Wii and the Wii U, I don't see it getting any better.
True. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, this is such a delicate situation. This is like wet toilet paper. Like you could just break it away. They can, all or nothing, man. January 12th, it's going to be a very delicate time for Nintendo. And as we get closer and closer, we're less than a week away, man. We're less than a week away from one of the biggest showcase in gaming. Okay. And this is Nintendo's next console that we're talking about. And it's all or nothing. If they drop the ball, it's game over. There's no coming back from this. It's not like you could just, forget about the Switch. Let's talk. Nope. Because people are going to be like, oh, man, I can't take Nintendo serious. They dropped the ball on the Wii U. They dropped the ball on the GameCube. And then dropping the ball on the Switch. I don't think no.
I will not put the GameCube in that area. I just won't. Because they did have something. Melee was huge. Resident Evil 0 was huge. Soul Calibur 3 was the best Soul Calibur out of the PlayStation 2 and Xbox because of Link. There was Rogue Squadron. Give me a VR of Rogue Squadron, and I'll consider that the best Star Wars game in VR. I don't care what PlayStation or Battlefront has. Rogue Squadron was amazing. And then you got all these other games that were just good. Pokemon Coliseum. I understand the Pokemon Tekken and, trying to be innovative, but give me just Pokemon Coliseum back. That was huge too.
Yeah. Oh, Pokemon Coliseum was the truth.
And they have the Wii U and the Wii have had their moments. I will tell you the one game that I thought made it better, and it's the most annoying mode on earth, but I believe it's the most fun, is the new Mario Party game where one of them is Bowser and you try to make them lose. Have you seen that one yet?
The one for the Wii U?
Yeah, for the Wii U, where one of the players can be Bowser, and he tries to mess up the party game and everything. Those are the kind of games that people will play. I want to play that game because if I get to be Bowser and mess up 4 of my friends in a game, that sounds like ultimate fun. It's sadistic, but it sounds like a really good time. Yeah.
It's, man, I don't know. It's the ball is in their court. Come January 12th. I don't know if you heard about their presentation on January 13th, where they're going to go in depth with the games and stuff like that they're going to show during the presentation. But they really have to bring it. I cannot stress it enough. Battery is another concern of mine. How long is this thing going to last? How long? When they show this off on the 12th, battery is going to be one of the biggest concerns because it's like, okay, you're going to take it on the go. How long? Now, I don't see the battery lasting more than 4 hours, to be honest with you, but a lot of people are pissed because of that rumor that they were talking about the battery being 3 to 5 hours, between 3.5 hours to 4 hours. That's it.
Not enough. That's not enough. And just to interrupt, I was looking at my Twitter, and this is one game that Nintendo flopped on. PlayStation's Twitter. Rocket League was the most downloaded PS4 game of 2016.
Wow.
Where were you, Nintendo? Because Xbox got a board too. And Rocket League is fun. It is addicting. That game's going to be around for good. Nintendo can do that. Their Switch is perfect for that, especially, for the two-sided controller. But it's, like I said, it's one of those things, man. It's bottom of the ninth of the World Series, 2 outs, 3-2 count, bases loaded, the pitch. You going to hit the game-winning hit, or are you going to whiff and strike out? That is Nintendo in a nutshell.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Fugios asks, if and when the battery dies, does the Switch becomes a home console only? Very, 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 very good question, man. I don't know. If the battery dies, will it become a I don't know, maybe it will switch. I guess that's why they're calling it the Switch. Maybe it will switch into home console mode instead of portable mode. I don't know. That's a very, very good question. But Rocket League is definitely a huge, huge global phenomenon. Like, that game did extraordinary well. Next to Uncharted. Uncharted did 8.7 million. Like, that is insane for a game. Like, a game, just selling that well, that's insane. 8.7 million? Mm-hmm. Oh, man. See, Nintendo, like I said, they can do this.
Yep.
They can do this, man. In my closing, they can do this. They just have to bring it, man. They have to believe in themselves. And with this new president, God rest Mr. Iwata, but Mr. Iwata, he had a vision for Nintendo. And his last vision was the Switch. And they can't mess it up, man. They cannot ruin Mr. Iwata's legacy. They really have to bring it. They have to bring it nonstop, full throttle, games after games after games. Advertisement. They need to explain what this thing is really, really all about. And I hope they really do it with that presentation, because I'm gonna be upset if I watch the presentation and I'm like, okay, well, I still have questions. Like, can you do this? How can you do this with this? So I hope they cover every single thing that we need to know about the Switch on January 12th.
Great.
That's just my whole thing. You know what I mean? Remember when Dark Souls 3 hyped people about the Nintendo Switch because they thought it would be on there? Yeah, I heard that. I heard about that. Dark Souls 3 being on the Switch. It's a possibility.
Definitely is. I mean, if they can, that would be a good start. Like, it's another one of those games. Like, where were you? Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, all these but you know what? I have a feeling. I feel like they're gonna do the same thing. With remember with the Wii U, where they were start rehashing all those third-party titles again and upscaling them in the 1080p. 60 frames per second or whatever. Yep. And I'm like, that's not good enough. Like, I already played that game already. If you're adding new content, fine.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're adding new content, fine. Isaac says, I actually like the Switch cast. Okay, great. Thank you, man. Thank you. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, the ball is in their court. They have to deliver. They have to bring it. Portability. Right, Chris. Portability, voice chat, good third parties, near current gen performance. That would be great. That would be too much like right.
Sounds like a recipe for success.
Exactly. too much like right, because first party stuff, we already know we're gonna get that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we know we're gonna get Mario, and that's probably one of the first stuff they're probably gonna show. They're gonna show that Mario game that we saw in the reveal trailer, which looks like a sequel to Super Mario 64. It's a mixture between Super Mario 64 and Mario Galaxy and some other Mario stuff mixed in together. But we know they're going to probably show that off first. And if not that, they might show off Breath of the Wild. Now, here's my question to you, War, real quick. What's your thoughts on Breath of the Wild? Because it looks extraordinary when I saw it on Jimmy Fallon. But a lot of people are concerned about the Wii U version, and there were rumors saying that it was shut down, like canceled, never to be opened up and see the light of day. So it brings a lot of concerns to a lot of people about the Wii U version of the Breath of the Wild, because they were saying that they're having technical difficulties developing it for the Wii U. And one of the main concerns I had with Breath of the Wild, being such a large game, it might very well be true, because the Wii U, let's be honest, is lackluster when it comes to power. So I can see them having a difficult time bringing that game down. And when they showed off gameplay for the Wii U version, I believe, and the trailer, it had a lot of screen tearing issues, and the graphics looks very washed out. Now on the Switch, it looked really good, like solid frame rate, no screen tearings or anything like that. What's your thoughts on Breath of the Wild so far as an overall package, not just the size, but performance-wise on the Switch and on the Wii U?
Well, I hope they don't cancel it for the Wii U. That's one concern. I mean, not everybody's going to make the Switch right away. So you want to make sure you don't cancel that, because you're only going to sell that game to a small amount of few, and nobody deserves not to be without Legend of Zelda, because I would have to say, in one aspect of Nintendo, Legend of Zelda is like one of my all-time favorites. I mean, they can make that game so good. Like, they even took the Wii and made Skyward Sword, and that was the most fun I ever had with a Wii. Like, playing with the sword, moving around, and I hope to do that with the Switch if they can. But it's one of those things where, I really hope they don't mess this up for Zelda, because, if you mess that up, I don't know what's going to save you. I really don't. This is their primetime game, and you telling me I can't get it on Wii U? That's like telling Sony fans and Xbox fans, hey, we got Call of Duty Remastered, but too bad, you have to buy Infinite Warfare to get it. How many people do you think they pissed off?
A whole lot.
A whole lot.
Yeah, putting up a paywall. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
It's really ridiculous, man.
I hope not. I hope not. Just that live stream's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Come January 12th, man. Oh my God, the clouds are going to open up, and Nintendo is going to be judged by everybody. Mm-hmm. The whole world is going to tune in on January 12th, and I cannot wait, because I took off work for that day, and I'm excited as a Nintendo fan. And, I know once Nintendo lift the floodgates for pre-orders, people are going to go and pre-order this thing like hotcakes on a sunny day. They're really going to jump on this thing, but they have to bring it. They have to show me why I should buy the Switch. Yes, the reveal trailer explains a little bit, but we need more. We need more juicy information regarding eShop being renamed to Game Store on their website. Oh, wow. Oh, they actually renamed the eShop to Game Store? Oh,
that's interesting.
That's interesting, man. That's really good, because eShop to me was just, eShop, what?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Seemed kind of lazy.
Yeah, eShop. No, but Game Store sounds a little bit more, gamer centered, like it sounds more gamer focused. But it's going to be interesting to see if they're going to bring back the virtual console stuff, with the Wii U. Maybe they might have a Wii U virtual console, which I think they're going to do it, because at this point the Wii U is dead, and everything that everything that is on the Wii U is going to be on the Switch, because you saw in the reveal trailer they were showing all these you know, Wii U stuff, Splatoon, Mario Kart. What else they were showing? They were showing NBA 2K. They were showing Elder Scrolls. You know, a lot of the Wii U stuff. Smash Brothers, you know, is rumored to be on there as well. So there's a lot of stuff that, you know, was said, you know, that's going to be on the Switch. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
We will see. We will definitely see. I mean, I hate repeating myself. I really do. It's just like a sports moment. I've done basketball and I've done baseball. Here we go. It's fourth and goal during the Super Bowl, and you don't want to be that team like the Seattle Seahawks who passes it instead of gives it to their main running back that's going to score, and then the Patriots win the Super Bowl. Just give it to your best player and run with it. Literally run with it. Like, you know, go up to the big boys, you know, try to make your systems work with major games, because like there's so many they're missing out on. The Kingdom Hearts series, Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, the list goes on and on and on. Yes, you had success with Mario, GoldenEye, Super Smash Brothers, you know,
Mario Kart,
Pigman, Mario Kart, you know, Pokemon. Like, yeah, those things are good, but it's kind of like how they did it with Pokemon this year with Sun and Moon. It's the same concept, but they added new ones to it to make it more interesting. You know, more, you know, it's not the same old thing. And that's why it was on IGN's top 10, because they decided to go outside the box. And that's what they need to do here. You need to go outside the box, not with your equipment, but with the games. And when you do that, like with Pokemon Sun and Moon, you're considered a top 10 game every year.
True.
Because Nintendo has that ability. It's just they want to do the same old stuff. Like, I remember back in the day, they were doing Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. Dumbest game ever. No, because if it were a 100-meter dash between Sonic and Mario, Sonic's winning. Like, come on. We don't even need to argue that. Or, like, it's just... You gotta stop being cute and just start, you know, there's nothing wrong with having an M-rated game on Nintendo. It is not their responsibility. They try to advertise to the young kids. I get it, but enough. Get me some Call of Duty, some Resident Evil, some Blood and Guts games on Nintendo, and people will buy Nintendo. It's up, same old argument. It's up to the parents to take responsibility of what the kids buy.
True.
Unless you're at the age of 16, then I think that's the age where you can make your own decisions in life for gaming, not anything else. But, you know, at 16, you really get a concept of what's going on in the world. And, you know, was Grand Theft Auto on Nintendo? We're like, stop trying to coddle these kids. Stop. Actually do something about it and start getting into the first-person shooters. Or the first class games, or whatever we were calling it. Yeah. You know, first party games. And then, you know, try some third party games where Sony and Xbox are in it. Try third party games too. Don't just go all third party games that are just going to go with Nintendo. You won't succeed. You won't. And it really sucks because, you know, as a Sony guy, you know, a lot of Sony guys like me would be like, oh, forget Nintendo. Like, this is, it's Sony's time. No, like, I loved Nintendo. And one of your viewers said, like, earlier in the podcast, like, I love how this is unbiased. Yeah, because, you know, I am a very unbiased person. Like, I know when something's good, and, you know, for Nintendo's potential, it stinks seeing it where it is.
It's true.
You could see so much more out of it, but they're just not willing to do it.
That is so true, man. Like I said, real talk. See, that's why I think a lot of the fans are gonna love you, man, because you speak. You know, it's like no, I'm being serious, man, because that's the problem with YouTube now, and Nintendo fanboys, a lot of Nintendo fanboys, is that they don't see anything wrong with what Nintendo is doing. They praise everything, you know.
They live in La La Land. That's all they do. They live in La La Land thinking, oh, as long as I get my Mario Kart, my Pokemon, I don't care. But, you know, their potential is so huge. They remastered, forget about the PS4 remaster of Resident Evil. That remastered was on GameCube. And you took a game that was horrifying on PlayStation to play. Like, I literally was scared playing that game as like, I think I was like 10 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the remaster came out, I think when I was 16, 17 years old. It took it to a whole new level. It was scarier than I ever thought it could be. And they added innovation in there, like the girl who was deformed in there. That wasn't in the original PlayStation. That was innovative. That was adding a whole new story to this game that is now Resident Evil canon. So it's take some risks, and if you want to be innovative with a first-party game, go. You can do that. Resident Evil was the perfect example. They took a storyline, and they could have just copied it and had a remaster. No, they added something new to it, which made it better. And that's the innovation they need to start doing. It's in their games, not their equipment. Equipment's fine. Just start with your games. Be innovative about that. Stop using and recycling the same old stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to. You can't stress it enough, man. They really need to step it up, man. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, you know, there's no sense in beating a dead horse. And a lot of fanboys, you know, they'll protect Nintendo. Nintendo is their pride and joy. Oh, what are you talking about? Oh, you know, Nintendo can do no wrong. They're perfect. You know, they love the little stupid games like, you know, Mario and Sonic. Like, that stuff is ridiculous. Like, that game is garbage. Like, that's one of the worst games on the platform. Like, it's ridiculous.
It's pathetic. I mean, it's you know, another thing too, you know, we had it before. Going back to Resident Evil again, they had the Umbrella Chronicles where they did the shoot 'em up. Like, it was like a first person shooter. Yeah. Those were big. Those are something I liked. It's like I said, we're beating a dead horse. I know this, but it's back to the games. Games. I don't care about the equipment unless there's good games. Final Fantasy VII is considered one of the highest, most popular Final Fantasies ever. And it took 10 years of fanboys going, make the darn remake. And then when the remake happened, you saw the reaction. That game is still relevant since we're talking 20 years. 20 years that game is still relevant. But it's because they waited. They didn't recycle the game every year. I mean, crying out loud, they did it every 5 years, whether it was like Crisis Core for PSP, that was really good for Final Fantasy VII, or like Advent Children was another 5 years later with the movie. Like, they never recycled it every year. It's like you're almost taking Mario and making it Madden. Welcome to Mario 1, Mario 2, Mario 3, Mario 4, Mario 5, Mario Kart 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Mario Kart Double Dash. You know, it's every year you're recycling the same old stuff. Like, enough. Like, do you need a Pokemon game every year? No. I can't even know how many Pokemon are there now. There's got to be over 1,000, right?
Yeah.
Why do you need to refresh it every year? I swear to God, Nintendo's going to be sitting there in their table going, anybody else got any ideas for Pokemon? And they're going to come up with random names and go, oh, good. What's that? Is it a cat? Is it a dog? Is it a buffalo? Like, oh, let's have a buffalo with, like, they'll start making random stuff up. It's okay to piss off your fans for a year or two if you're going to make a better game out of it.
It's true, man. It's true.
Going back to the Resident Evil remastered on the GameCube. It took 8 years. Still worth it.
Wow.
8 years, still worth it.
Yeah, 8 years still worth it. Yeah, man. Like I said, I can't wait for January 12th. Guys, thank y'all so much for the tremendous support. I know there's not a lot of you guys in here tonight because of the time zone and, things like that. But thank you all so much for listening. And it was my honor to have Warpath Gaming in here. He's going to be coming to more and more of the Switch cast, of course. That's what we're going to be calling it because, hey, the Switch is right around the corner. So we're going to be talking about it, even after it releases, because there's going to be tons of stuff, a plethora of things to talk about. So please go check out his channel. I'll definitely put his channel in the description. He's actually a subscriber of Games and Warriors channel. Could you please tell the fans, how you discovered the channel?
It was actually, I noticed your channel a long time ago with your Mario kissing Peach or Wario kissing Peach. That was the one. And then, no, I was, overlooking it for a while, and I just realized, there's a lot of good content on there, and it's just, you've got pretty much the best darn Wario impression I've ever heard. I've got a couple myself, but I won't reveal them tonight. But, I think he's got great content, and I think, just being a Nintendo ambassador is just huge. I mean, not everybody gets to be that. So if you're a big Nintendo fanboy, go where the ambassadors are and subscribe to Games and Wario. I mean, for me being a Sony fan, I still like Nintendo, so I definitely want to go to places that actually know what they're talking about and the relevance, especially on news, which he is pretty much on game almost 24/7. So that's what I feel about it.
Nice. You know what? It's funny how you brought up the Wario stuff because when I started this channel 2 years ago, that's why I tell people don't give up on your dreams, because when I started the channel, my goal was to get Nintendo's attention. And so that's just mind-boggling to me that I was able to get their attention, with my videos and with my voice acting. That was a huge thing for them. And me running into an icon, a person that, I really admire his work, Charles Martinet, and he knew who I was. So that just let me know that, man, everything I'm doing is not going in vain. And the fact of, you saying that to me, really makes me feel so good with what I'm doing, because it's not just you. It's like everybody says the same thing about my voice. Like everybody's like, man, like you should be doing Wario. Like you should be, if Charles Martinet steps down, and this has been going on since I start the channel. Like when I first started the channel and uploaded my first video, which was just Wario laughing, the video got over 10,000 views. Right there and then I knew I was destined to do YouTube. Like this was my destiny, because not a lot of creators are able to just upload a video with 0 subscribers and boom, video just goes viral. Boom. It's crazy and it's mind-boggling, but the voice is that good. It was your voice that actually, you doing your voices on the YouTube that actually made me do the series I'm doing now. And wow.
Yeah, and you know which one I'm talking about if you've actually seen the channel a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was like one of those things like, well, if he can do it, why can't I? And, that video actually, when I started out, it's Mickey Plays Resident Evil for anybody that wants to check it out. My first one, I think I have 12,000 views on it. Because it's like that kind of risk. I was like, from getting an example from you, it's why I decided to do it, because I needed to switch up my series a little bit from doing too many Let's Plays. And after I did Mickey Plays, like everybody was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Like, are you going to do this more? I've had friends for years tell me I should start doing more of my voices in games. And I finally took a risk on it, and it really paid off. And I'm looking forward to doing more of those, just like here at Games of Wario. Like, it's being innovative. Hear that, Nintendo? Innovative.
It's crazy that you're saying that. It's like we're on
Sesame Street. Like today's word of the day is innovative. Maybe you should try that.
Man, that makes my heart like skip a beat, man. The fact that you say things like that, and you know, going into go into E3 and PAX and all those other events and running into fans, and you know, people want my autograph, and people are like, man, dude, I love your voice. And the crazy part is that it's the originality of the voice. It's like it's not mimicking anybody. And Charles told me that this voice, you know, will take me places. That's what his words were to me. My voice will take me places where I've never been, before. And it's like the fact of Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario, saying that to me, and saying that one day I could potentially be a Nintendo studio doing this stuff like that.
Yeah, that's huge.
It's huge, man.
Huge.
And I don't know what to say. And the fact of the Smash Brothers guy, the announcer, he's a fan of the channel. He's actually subscribed to the channel. And every time you play a Games and Warrior video, you hear his voice.
Yep.
So it's like, it's crazy. So I really, really feel honored, man. You know, for you to say that to me, like I really inspire you and things like that. That makes me feel so good within myself, because I've worked so hard, you know, on this channel for 2 years, and it's been nothing but hard work. I've been featured on a lot of bigger YouTubers' channels for shout outs. Like people just love the voice so much to the point where they want me to use my voice on their channel. It's crazy, you know, the support that I've been getting. So thank you so much, man. Guys, I put his channel.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man. I put his channel in the chat. Make sure you go subscribe to Warpath Gaming. Check out his awesome content. And I will be collaborating with him very soon on his other channel. So more on that coming real soon. Thank you guys so much for another Switch cast. Well, this is the first one. But thank you so much, guys, for the love and for the support. Catch y'all in the next one. Peace. We are out.
Game on, people.